Hello, everyone. Good to see y'all once again. It's been a while. But today's a good day for the Noles as we continue to build on our football program. We got some great young men coming into our program that we're really excited about. We feel like we um, addressed some needs that we needed in our program. And um, signing day is today through Friday, and I'm sure there'll be more to come. And then you have the second part of it there that goes through January to the second signing period, which um, I expect for us to continue to add on to the really good class that we have already. But excited about the guys we have coming in, and can't wait till they get here.
Yeah.
Coach, I know you kind of mentioned this is the first day, but for players who maybe have already determined that they're not going to sign early, how does the coaching staff perceive them? Is it any negative view at all? And there's some kind of usually fans, if guys don't sign early, they kind of get worked up about it. How does the staff perceive them?
Perceive them like everything else. I mean, it's a tough decision for these young people, and a lifetime decision for them, and they got to make the best decision for themselves and make sure they're comfortable with the decision that they're going to make. And so the guy's not going to sign here during the early signing period, and you can't get mad at him. You got to respect his decision and keep working, keep recruiting, and making sure you give him all the information he needs about your school to make sure that that's a place that he wants to be, and a place that we want them to be as well. So I don't think you get upset or anything like that. You just got to keep working, and again, at some point they're going to make a decision, and you keep working, and keep the relationship like it's supposed to be, and hopefully that decision will be with you.
Chris?
Do you have an expectation of how many more guys between now and Friday, and also exiting this period? What's the biggest needs that you guys have remaining?
No, you never have expectation when it comes to recruiting. Anything can happen these next couple of days and this next month leading up to February. We're going to sign the guys that we know we're going to sign, and there's some guys that'll sign with us in February. And but I think after going through this signing period, we as a staff can regroup and make sure that we finish off the recruiting class the right way and in the right position that we need to.
Willie, no quarterback recruits signed so far, but you do have 2 months. And I know you can't talk about individual players and prospects, but are there kids you're looking at? Because, Florida State fans are a little bit worried that the kid committed to North Carolina. Did you guys see that coming, number one? And do you have, I don't want to call them backup plans, but do you have other irons in the fire at that position?
Yes, Florida State will be fine. We'll get a QB in here that we all like and all excited about. And we'll get someone in here that's going to help us win ball games.
You doing, Coach? What were, when you came into this recruiting cycle, what were the biggest needs that you identified for this program, and how do you think you've done filling them so far?
Well, I think we all know offensive line-wise, we needed to fill some holes there, and I thought we did a good job so far. And again, we're not finished from that standpoint. I thought linebacker was another area to where we needed to again add on to our depth, and we signed 3 guys today, and could improve on that as well. But I knew going in we wasn't going to have a big offensive signing day for our guys. It would be more defensive guys going in, but feel good about our needs and what we was able to fill. And again, the beauty of this time compared to last year, you got the guys, and going into January, it's only a few guys you have to get, and you can really focus on the 2020 class. Something we wasn't able to get a jump on last year because we were still filling out our class for the 2018 season. So that'll give us a jump start going into this next class.
Coach, there were some players that were committed to other programs that seemed to come visit Florida State in the last week or so. How would you kind of characterize their ability, their talent, and how you go about bringing in players that late in the process?
Well, I think a lot of those guys, I mean, you're evaluating, you're recruiting always to the end. I mean, a lot of those guys, we've been in discussion with them, been talking to, and again, when it comes to visiting and those things happen sporadically for some of them. And I think because of the relationship that we've had and been working on it got those young men to come on campus at a time where they could, and it was good for us too. And it was great. I know for us, we were only going to have one official visit weekend, so and that was last weekend, and so they all were able to come then.
Willie, you guys have a few guys from South Florida you got signed, and then you've also have some other guys out there from South Florida. Could you, I guess, just to talk about the staff that you have assembled and how that was a priority? I think when you put together the staff, one of the benefits was you had some connections in South Florida.
Yeah, and it's good to get down there and get some student athletes from down in South Florida. We know there's some really good football players down there. They're big recruiting base for everyone, and I think you look at Florida State in the past, we've been able to go down there and get some really good football players to come here and help our football program. And we have some guys on our staff who have relationships down there, and it's always good to have relationships in the area. It helps you when it comes to recruiting, and I think it helped us in this recruiting class of getting guys down there and getting the kind of kids that we want in our program and what we want to build our program around. And it helped us going down there this year.
Coach, today you signed three people who played secondary, and then also you have three more commits who are also members of secondary, whether safety or cornerback. How big of a priority was it for you to improve the secondary, and then just how big is it for you to now, depending on what happens with the players who are committed but haven't signed, just to have more depth back in the secondary?
Well, that was, again, an area that we wanted to improve on and like I say, add to it. And not only add to it with some really good football players. And I think for us as a staff and being here for a year now and going through the conference and seeing exactly what you're up against, it helps. And I think all those young men that we signed and gonna sign is gonna help us going through our conference and our opponents that we're gonna have to play against. But they're all very talented, and I think we all understand in college football nowadays you better be talented, especially in the back end. You have so many explosive offenses out there and doing a lot of different things. You need guys that can be able to cover, So I like the guys we have, and look forward to signing the guys that we're going to sign moving forward to help us get there.
Willie, now that in the second year at the early signing period, what are your further impressions of it? How has it changed your life? Is it better or worse, different?
Hadn't changed my life. Still got to recruit and still got to sell and hopefully get the young men here. It's just you get some guys signed earlier than usual, but I think it helps now that I'm not getting a job and trying to go out and recruit some kids in 2 weeks, so being here now longer, it helps tremendously. But I think more importantly, it gets you to the point where you can start on the next class a lot earlier. When you're going out in January, you're not actually running out looking for guys and finding guys you're actually on to the next class. And I mean, there'll be a few guys, like I said, that you can add on to this class, but for the most part, you'll be moving on to the next class. And I guess from that standpoint, it helps. You get some guys locked up and you get to move on early, but I don't see much difference.
Hey, Willie, I wonder, two-part question. Jay Williams and was it Maurice Smith, the two offensive linemen, I guess, what do those two guys bring to the table? And then two, how much of a priority is that position, the offensive line, still moving forward with the rest of the recruiting process?
Both of those guys are really good football players. They're physical. You look at a guy like Maurice Smith, very physical at the point of attack, and again, he really loves playing the game. You enjoy that part of him. Smart player. You look at Jay Williams, a big kid that I really love the way that he finishes blocks when he's blocking, and you get a chance to meet the kid, you'll see just phenomenal young man that want to be great at what he does and got a chip on his shoulder and looking to come here and play. And I think we all understand how important the offensive line is for us. We all understand that, and that's going to always be a priority for us. Not just this class, but every class we have moving forward that we recruit. Not only just offensive line, but big-time offensive linemen to help us to win ball games.
Willie, during your first season, there was a lot of conversation about culture and getting guys that have the same beliefs, I guess, and values that the coaching staff has. What is it about these guys that you like, and how good was that last weekend where you had so many of those guys who stayed with you stayed committed through a tough season, and the messages they delivered to the other guys who were here?
That was good. We wanted to have all of our guys here at one time. That was the plan, is to try to get as many of our committed guys here that one weekend, and it was good. We had a really good time, and again, it says a lot about those kids, and I think when you talk about changing the culture, and for us, it's getting individuals that want to be here. I mean, I think you look at a lot of these kids, they wanted to be here, and they didn't waver, and that's really important. They're talking about changing the culture, and guys that's going to have pride in their university and do whatever they can to make sure we get this program back to the way that we want it to. I think you look at a lot of these kids, they're smart, they're tough, they're highly driven in what they want to get accomplished, and highly competitive, and I think those are all things you need in trying to build a program to a winning program and to a championship caliber football team. So I think all those guys in this class, I mean, that's the one thing I'm excited about, is they all share a lot of the same common values and what we want in our football program. And I think this class is going to make a tremendous effect on our football program, just with them integrating with the guys that we have here and trying to change the culture to the way we want it to. I think this class is going to help get us closer to that point of exactly where we want our coaching.
Two-part question, Coach.
Two-part.
You said, like you said, there weren't a lot of offensive signees early, but you did have some. How difficult was it to recruit without an offensive coordinator, and do you have a timetable for when you want to announce that?
Well, again, I want to keep this on our recruits. I think we're close when it comes to our offense coordinator, and you guys will hear about that soon. We'll let you all know that as soon as we're done, and it's moving right along, and feel good about where we're at with it. But you all will hear that, and again, today is about our recruits, and I don't think it affected any of our guys that we're signing at all. So none of them really brought it up throughout it, so it didn't affect us much at all.
Coach, to follow up on that a little bit, will you expect with the new staff in place, the offense, do you expect the next level, the late signing period, to be a little bit more offensive heavy? Because I think you only have 3 offensive recruits out of the 13.
I wouldn't necessarily say right now is just be heavily on offense. It's going to be more on need and depth, and where we need to continue to add depth to our football program. I think there's some areas on our team where we're loaded at some positions, and so it'll be more just filling out your depth and your needs.
I also want to ask you how unusual it was to recruit Raymond Woody III with a coach on staff. And have you done that before, to have a coach on staff that you recruited his son?
Not to the point to where you got to sign him. You recruit him, and it didn't get that deep. So it was pretty cool. We recruited Raymond the same way we recruited everyone else. Did home visits with him, and that was kind of weird for me. I've been knowing this young man since he was shorty, and so it was. I know for me, I don't know about them, but it was a little weird for me to sit in and have our one-on-one meeting, and sit down with the family, and now Coach Woody's sitting here with me. I'm like, what are we doing? It was different, but it was also an exciting time for me because I watched this young man grow, and to see where he's at now and to see the type of young man that he is, not just on the football field, but just socially and just how he carries himself is it's been great, and I'm excited to be able to continue to watch him grow and help him grow into the young man that he wants to be. But really excited about Ray. Really good football player, and that's, like I said, it's been fun to watch him just develop it as a football player and become this big time college football player. And I'm glad that he's on our football team.
Coach, with Kevon Glenn, just how do you Kevon?
Yes.
Was he on your radar throughout his high school season, and how do you go about recruiting a guy, that you offer in a week and then he commits and then he signs, within like a 10-day span?
Well, like I said before, just because those things happen doesn't mean we don't have a relationship with those kids or haven't talked to them or anything like that. Usually those things happen throughout the year, and you get to know them, and a lot of times those kids know too if they're going to get an offer, it's probably a place they want to be in. And then they take it. I think for Kevon, it was an opportunity for him to get down here and get on campus and get around our staff and everyone, which he did this past weekend, and they fell in love with it. And I think also looking at our depth and need there, he saw a place where he can go and have an opportunity to go and compete, and I think it worked out for both of us. Really good football player, smart football player. Again, like I said a minute ago, the type of individual that we want in this football program.
Hey, Coach, talk about Malcolm Ray a little bit, the defense lineman from Carroll City, obviously one of the best defenses in South Florida. But what did you see in that kid that really just caught y'all's attention, that you knew you had to have that kind of kid?
Well, I think it was the game that I went and watched him play. Carroll City was playing Southbridge, and I think he caught my eyes from warm-up, just watching him warm up and stretch, and just looking at him, I'm like, this guy here's ready to go, and he was that way the entire football game. Just didn't take a play off. He was upbeat and ready to go, and from that point on, we just really continued to study and watch him. And I came back and told the staff, just really like that kid, and we need to do as much research as we can and make sure that he's the right fit for what we want to do. But I know from a football standpoint, he was the right fit. We had to just figure out the rest. And after doing that, we felt he was, again, exactly what we want in our football program.
Willie, I know you can't get into names, but there's obviously a lot of movement in the quarterback transfer market. Is that something that you guys think you'll be involved with, and how much has that changed in terms of college football from just even 5 years ago, 10 years ago?
It changed big time. You see it happening. I mean, constantly. I guess that's the way the game is going now. And again, it's unfortunate, but it's happening. And will we be a part of it going forward? If it's going to help our football team, absolutely. We're going to be all over it. But again, especially at the quarterback position, you see it's only one guy can play. So you see that happening more often with that position than most. Again, it's different, and you gotta recruit different, and you gotta manage your team differently because of it now. But you gotta stay ready because it just happens often. Come on, I'm going to say Christmas coming up. You guys not going to see me for a while.
So when you're recruiting Raymond, is his dad actually like a normal dad and asking you questions, and where do you see my son fitting in, and like what could that possibly have been like?
No, it was for a while. I really didn't bother Coach Woody much about it. I figured if he wanted to know anything, he'll come to me. But Coach Woody probably know me better than anybody here, so he didn't have a lot of questions. He knew what his son was getting into, and to be honest with you, I think Raymond Woody III knew what he was getting into when he decided to come here too. But I know the coaches was on Coach Woody quite a bit. Like what is Woody thinking now, and where is he going? When is he coming here? They were on almost every day, and I'm sure Coach wanted to keep it to himself and let his kid enjoy recruiting, like most kids like to do. But it was Coach Willie didn't ask much. I know the assistant coaches gave him a lot of grief throughout the year, not knowing exactly what Raymond Woody III was going to do. When he went to visit somewhere else, everybody get a little upset, like, what are we doing? But it worked out for us.
Well, you guys brought in a couple other linebackers, Kalen DeLoach, Shalem McCray. What do those two bring to the table, and what kind of impact do you think they could have? Or can they have an early impact, possibly?
Oh, they're going to have a chance to come in and compete. And again, that's one thing we're excited about, our quality of players that we have in. We feel like we got to have some really good football players in here, and all three of those guys are very athletic, and can run. And I think that's really important. Again, after going through this season and going up against the teams we're going against, you see how important it is to have linebackers that can run, that are physical and athletic, because they're going to be put in a position where they got to use those athletic abilities. But they all great guys, smart guys, and tough guys. And I'm looking forward to them to come in here and compete and try to earn themselves a spot.
Another question, you've talked about the quarterback room, or you've talked about their quarterback recruiting. Do you guys plan to have DeAndre Francois back this upcoming season, or are you looking at maybe other options as well?
Again, we got to add on to it. I think you go through the season, we had 2 guys on scholarship, and typically you like to have a lot more than that. So we got to add our depth in the quarterback room. I know DeAndre, he just graduated, and I'd applaud him for that. For accomplishing one of his dreams, and I know he's weighing his options whether to leave or not. So we're going to be supportive of DeAndre, whatever he decides to do. But that's where we're at with that.
Following up on that, James didn't get to play much this past season, but I know you've been high on him in the past, and he has started for a full season. If it were to be James Blackman, if DeAndre were to leave to go pro or whatever else, how confident are you in James, based on what he did this past season, that to be the guy leading that race going into next season?
Oh, I have all the confidence in the world in James. James a good football player, and he's a good leader. He shows that he can play the game of football, and I'm confident that he can continue to play football and continue to get better. We saw him play when he was young, and we saw a little bit of him in one game this year where he was able to play or start a game, and did a good job in that one. So very confident in James and his ability, and knowing that he's only going to get better, again, with more reps and a whole nother offseason. Did I answer your question?
Sure.
All right.
Sorry. Also, with not having a bowl game to prepare for, what could you just give us an overview of what the team's doing right now, and kind of what that process is, especially now that recruiting slows down a little bit?
Well, our guys just finished up with finals, and they're going home to their families, around with their families, and you got a dead period here, and school's out, so they all back with their families. Again, it's a little awkward time for all of our guys, but dealing with it, and they all looking forward to getting back here in January to get back to work.
Coach, if you have one more guy you can talk about now.
Oh, the Pope. Oh yeah, another one. Another one in the trenches. The Pope. Yeah, Pope. Dante Lucas, 2 years. He's a war daddy. He's what I call people movers. He moves people out of the way, and he's physical, and he's tough. Kind of mentality we want on our offensive line. And I think a young man that'll come here and help us tremendously, and he's looking forward to being here. Another one of the guys who've been with us, and very excited about being a Nole, and we're excited about having him being a Nole too. Really excited. The Pope.
Anything else, Coach?
Come on.
Just his coach. Sorry, this revert to old habits there. Just interacting with the Pope, Lucas's personality. I mean, he's got to be one of the guys. You talk about bringing some dogs in here, guy who's that kind of leadership in him. What can he do for you beyond just being a really good offensive line prospect?
Well, I think he's one of those guys that a lot of his peers flock to him. You see him, a lot of them like being around, like hanging around him. He's a good young man that his peers love being around. And I think from that standpoint and being able to bring some leadership here and as a young guy will help, and his work ethic, and come from a winning team. He understands what it takes to win, but he's also a guy that's very highly driven in what he wants. He knows what he wants, and he's determined to go get it. And you love young people that's driven that way, and you want to help them every way, which way you can to fulfill their dreams and goals, and knowing that that's all they need is someone to help show them how to get it. And I think he's one of those guys that'll take advantage of that opportunity. One more. Come on, one more. This guy. One more. Which one is that?
Which of the players were good at recruiting, especially when kids would come on visits? Who were some of the players that were helpful current players that were helpful recruiting?
Yeah, guys like Kalen Brooks, Amari Gaynor, J-Rob. He was here this past weekend helping us out. Jalen Goss, Chaz Neal, Stanford Samuel. Trying to think of Marvin Wilson. These are guys that could have went home early, but decided to stay here to help us out, recruit and host, which was, again, another great sign of our guys and trying to do whatever they can to help our team too. But they stayed back and host the kids to try to show them a good time, but also making sure that they're the right kind of kids we want to bring in. So really thank those guys for sticking around and helping us out, because they didn't have to do that, but they wanted to help their team.
Willie, did you have an inkling at all that Walt might be leaving? And if so, as a head coach, are you always in the back of your mind thinking, okay, this is who I might go after if that happens? This might be who I go after if that happens. Are you thinking like that constantly? And did you have an inkling it might be coming?
I think you always got to think that way as a head coach. I mean, we see how this thing just like things happen all the time. So you always got to be ready, and I think from day one we knew that Walt Bell expired to be a head coach one day, so you knew it was going to happen at some point. But you always stay ready and locked in, and I'm sure we're going to find a really good offensive coordinator to get our offense going and to get all of our Seminole fans happy and excited about Seminole football again. And I know how it was. I would never forget it, and make sure the next offense coordinator understand. But when Mario and Terry caught that touchdown against Boston College and just heard how loud it was, and Doug Campbell, and it's like that's how it's supposed to be often. And got to make sure we get someone to come in here and make sure we're scoring a lot of points so we can hear it like that all the time, and bring back the happiness around here, and we will. I promise you that. Promise.
Back to Dante a little bit, the Pope, as you call him, but
he called himself that. So.
Gene actually gave him that nickname, but but anyway, when I talked to Dante after the visit, he talked when he officially visited here. He said, "I don't want to just join a ship. I want to build a ship." I mean, what does that mean to you when you hear something like that? That your message is resonating with recruits. It's the one thing with your players, but to hear that from a recruit, what does that mean to you as far as that? And then secondly, when I talked to Jay Williams, he also said he was very surprised how Maurice and Dante were so mature and so mentally focused on that. The group of the Tribe 19, they all had a same mindset of, we're going to go out and change things here.
Well, it tells me we're after the right guys, and those kind of individuals we want on our football team, and think if you look throughout that class, you'll see a lot of guys that feel the same way, and that's why they stayed with us, and that's why they were there with us. You know, that's what they wanted to be a part of. They knew what we're up against and what we're trying to get to, and that's something they wanted to be a part of. And again, those are the kind of guys that we wanted to recruit as well. You know, and knowing that that's going to ultimately help us get back to where we all know Florida State should be. But we're not going to do it without young men like that and believe in the vision. But I go back to having young men that are passionate about Florida State University, and it's got to be that way. It's hard to win and win consistently enough if you don't have the passion and love for your school. And we got to make sure we bring in individuals that have the love and the passion for our university, and make sure we go out and represent it the right way.
Coach, you had to put the staff together so quickly last year. Now that you got this early sign period kind of out of the way, you got some more time to figure those things out. Do you think you'll go sort of in a different direction, look for a different profile of a guy to help you out with the offense?
Well, I just try to find the right fit, you know, for our players and for our staff. You know, I think that's probably the most important thing. There's a lot of football coaches out there, and there's a lot of them that want to be here that knows football, and it's important that we get the right fit and the right fit for our guys. And I do think having a year here, I understand what that fit is for our guys, and I understand our players more, and understand our university a lot better. So I really feel a lot better about finding a guy that's going to be the right fit for our players and what we need moving forward. You know, I said it before, I don't think we're far. We just got to get that right piece, and I think it can take off for us.